a ladder, and it's interesting to see what they put in and what they omit. And still, there is a lot of people in the West who think that Iran, which means land of the Aryans, has an Arab majority, when in fact, as you know, Arabs are a tiny minority, and Aryans the overwhelming majority, as the name suggests.
I heard of too many Americans that they thought that Iran is a desert in which Iranians walking with their camels beside oil wells, and that's the assumption many Americans have, and I've talked to them, and that's really bad. It's really bad.
Well, Fatima, if I could just, I knew that America, I knew that we were in trouble before I came to Iran. But when I came to Iran and I saw what it was like to be around intelligent, enlightened, educated people, my wife texted me on my phone when I was there the first time, and she said, "How are you doing?" And I said, "Well," I said, I'm having a wonderful time. I said, "But we've got to get out of America. We have to leave because I've just spent a week in the presence of, truly enlightened and intelligent human beings, and as bad as we think it is in America, it's much worse, and you really don't come to understand it until you go somewhere else and see how intelligent and enlightened people behave." America is. I say this with great sadness because I want my country to be healed, but really we have just become a nation of barbarians by design. I mean, how else are you going to create an army of people who are going to go and murder 1 billion Muslims around the world? You have to spend decades destroying their culture, destroying their morals, destroying their ability to think critically and to think morally, and so it's a terrible tragedy. But it's when you talk about Muslims in America, about Islam, all Americans know is, oh, those are those people who attacked us on 9/11, and we have to go and kill all of them.
Exactly.
I've heard Christians talking like that, saying we should drop nuclear weapons on Iran because Iran is going to hurt the poor little Jews in Israel and all of that. It's as bad as you think it is. Trust me, it's much, much worse.
This is exactly what the American government and the media wants the American people to think about Iran and about Islam.
Yes, it's not just a war against terror; it is a war against Islam. It really is. It's against. They want to eradicate Islam from the world because right now it is. Even though Islam, Islamic countries, they have their problems just like everyone else, but it is the only antibiotic in the world left. The only antibiotic to the contagion of Zionism. And Iran is the epicenter of that resistance, and that's why, above all else, they have to destroy Iran.
Thank you so much for your amazing words. Thank you. It was really great, and I loved speaking with you, with both of you. Anything left you would like to add?
Long live the revolution of 1979. God bless Iran. God protect Iran.
Amen. Thank you, Mark. Thank you so much. And we have?
There's just a few parts I forgot, which I would just basically when I was talking about Obama's failures, I neglected to mention that kicked 2.2 million people off food stamps. Basically, they couldn't get social welfare, even though they needed to eat. That means he cut trillions in social welfare provision, while a corporate welfare bill of $260 billion a year, a corporate welfare bill, but it's only social welfare that needs to be cut. And more of his failures, the lowest trade union membership in America for a century. That happened under Obama. He bailed out CEOs, he bailed out bankers, he endorsed the Trans-Pacific Partnership, he endorsed the Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership. Ed Snowden, Bradley Manning, we could go on all day with the whistleblower crackdown he had. And on Syria, do you know why he didn't invade Syria in 2013?
In what?
In the year 2013, why Obama did not go into Syria with ground troops?
What was the reason? I don't know.
Well, basically, Obama said to the British government that he wanted to go into Syria, whereas David Cameron and Nick Clegg at the time said, yes, David, we will support you on that. Ed Miliband, then leader of the British Labour Party, said, no, Barak, we're not going into Syria. So basically, the irony was that the person who stopped Obama's neoconservative plan for Syria was an Ashkenazim Jew leading a British political party. And further highlight, and as I told you yesterday, Fatima, the weakness of the president was shown here in Ireland. So it was when he came here for the G8 meeting, and basically he complained about, because Cameron had promised him that when he came to Ireland there would be no protests, and Barack Obama was looking forward to that. And then we were there on the mountain with G8, NWO, war criminals, and Obama in his Black Hawk flying over Belfast, and we seen the Black Hawks flying in front of us. He and his press secretary complained. Cameron promised us no protest. What about the protest on Belfast Mountain? Of course, we were on Slieu Dhu, which means Black Mountain. The irony that he didn't know it was Black Mountain.
Black Mountain.
I thought that was funny. And basically, to finish it all off, there was the Planned Parenthood scandal. I forgot to mention the another failure of his. He was in the pocket of his corporate owner. He wouldn't admit it or even reverse his position to defy his puppet master, even though the public were calling for it. And basically, George W. Bush, not exactly a financial or economic genius, basically cut away at the state, but at the same time had two unfunded wars, one in Iraq and one in Afghanistan, after the post 9/11 paranoia, and basically all Muslims are Wahhabists, therefore we must perpetrate genocide against them, that mindset. But despite all of that, Bush increased the United States national debt from $4 trillion to $10 trillion. So that meant when Obama arrived, it was $10 trillion. Do you know what it's projected to be at the end of the presidency? $22 trillion. $22 trillion they've borrowed, they've squandered, and they're going to throw the bill onto the working class people of America. And quite frankly,
and I did too. I loved it. I loved it so much.
Disgusting.
And thank you so much. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Michal, for giving us this huge honor for having this discussion with you guys. Thank you.
Islam with Wahhabism, because I believe Saudi Arabia and Israel have more military plans, and basically they have to keep conflating Wahhabism with Islam so that all people will irrationally see them as the enemy and basically want to perpetrate.